What you're hearing here is what I call the lightning bolt. I just so happened to be doing a voice memo demo at the very moment that the inspiration for this song struck me. It's nonsense words like I sing to come up with melodies, but the entire chorus of this song, as far as the guitar and the vocal goes, was totally improvised on the spot, just in this one little magical moment. See, to me, this is like a religious experience. It's the only time that I feel like I'm close to a higher power. You work and you work for weeks and months and don't come up with anything until one day, all of a sudden, this magical connection seems to open up between my brain and the heavens. And all of a sudden, there's a song in my head. And it always feels like the song has existed forever, somewhere out there in the universe. And it was always my destiny to discover it. I really believe in this song, which is what makes what happened with the studio recording of it all that much more painful. I also just want to be clear right from the start that the problems with this song are not Matt's fault at Phoenix Studios at all. It's totally my fault and my lack of resources and ability to really put the money and time into it that it needs to really do it right. But today, I'm going to tell the story behind the worst thing I ever did. This song is very different from anything else I've put out before. It's the first song that I've ever recorded in an actual real studio. And I just feel the need to explain myself a little bit. Because of the way that this recording ended up going in the studio, I ended up deciding to release all of the demos along with this song. So it's a single, but there's actually going to be 6 tracks on there, where I'm going to be including every single part of the process to go all the way up to the studio demo.
Much remains unspoken and won't come out. No, the past is what you want to be. Just admit it, can't stop myself, and I can't help. No, I can't help but to think of the worst thing, of the worst I ever did was a wasting.
But let's go back to the beginning. So, all the way back in 2023, when I was doing DoorDash full-time, I used to pick up from a restaurant, a steakhouse restaurant, quite frequently. And one day, I noticed that there was a new girl working there. And I thought she was just about the cutest girl I'd ever seen in my life. But I didn't think, for a second that I even really had like a chance with her. So, I went on about my business, for months and months. I would go there on a pretty regular basis and see her. But one day, I finally went there and I had the courage to ask her out. And she says yes. And actually seems like she's really, excited to go out with me. So, I'm super stoked. And about all this. But at the time, I was addicted to kratom and still am. I had this whole backstory of I was addicted to heroin, and then I got on Suboxone, and then I've pretty much been taking kratom ever since. And I told her this story, but in my head, I felt like I had to get off kratom and finally be like 100% sober in order to deserve kind of to be with her. And I made the mistake of trying to get off of it pretty much right as soon as we started dating, which started putting me in this really, bad, rough mental place. And before too long, I just felt like I needed to go off on my own, get through the withdrawal. And I felt like once I was finally done with that and I was totally sober, then we could be together. But the problem is, I didn't really explain all this as well as I should have. And I kind of just sent her a text saying, I need some time, which she probably took as me breaking it off with her. And then, I ended up trying to quit kratom, staying alone in my house for 2 months, and I failed. And then when I finally decided to try to talk to her again a couple months later, she was done with me. And that's totally understandable, I don't really blame her for doing that. But it was difficult for me because the entire time I was going through this, I just kept thinking in my head, as soon as I'm done with this, I was doing it for her. But it's just totally stupid because she didn't even know that. But yeah. So anyway, it didn't end up working out with her. And even to this day, this is over 2 years ago. Now, even to this day, I still kind of have a difficult time with it. But anyway, so come early 2024 is when I had that first burst of inspiration for the song. Pretty soon after that, I came up with the guitar riff for the verse, which is basically the catchiest guitar riff that's ever been written in human history. Play it for you a little bit. So, I just ended up putting those two sections of the song together, and I ended up deciding to write it about her. Because, as crazy as it may seem, a lot of times, even with all the mistakes that I've made, a lot of times it seems like that still could have been the biggest mistake I've ever made. I always wonder how my life could have been different if I had not been stupid and pursued that. Alright, so anyway, at first when I wrote this song, this was supposed to be like a secret song. I wrote all these songs between 2021 and through 2023 or so, and I wanted to put out all those songs first. I kind of had a whole album with the songs that I was ready, and I wanted to put all those out first. And then everything I wrote after that were going to be secret songs that I didn't put out until after I put out the first album. And so I went out like that for, a long while, but lately I just kind of abandoned that whole strategy. I'm just putting out my songs, I'm not doing that anymore. But at the time, for a long time throughout 2024, I didn't really, try to get this song out there. I didn't even really play it live. It was like a secret song. Then in 2025, I ended up joining this band called Hissing Cockroach, where we all dress up in cockroach outfits. It's another folk punk band where we just dress up in like cockroaches. And I played bass for that band. I did some recording with them in the studio, the same studio that I ended up going to for my recording. But yeah, I was playing with that band, and we were shooting a music video for that band for one of our songs that we had recorded in the studio. And I was playing two characters in this film. I was playing myself on bass, as Nick Cockroach on bass, and I was also playing myself as niknokay, my music project. Because in the music video, they were going to have me basically on stage before the band. They're kind of just showing me at the end, kind of making it look like it's a show. And first you have my set, and then Hissing Cockroach goes on after me, right? So I'm on stage. We're shooting this music video, and the guys there want me to play a song. They want me to play the end, just the ending of a song, so that they could have it for the video that I'm doing something, some music of what I'm playing on stage. And I was just up there with all the the lights, brights, and all the people staring at you, and I just had to think of something real quick. And I knew that this was a song that people like, that had a really good, strong ending, so I just decided to go for it. And then after I played it, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people were asking me about it, where they could find it, and I didn't really have anything but those kind of crappy demos. But the guys who were making the music video ended up liking it so much that they wanted me to record an actual real version of the song in the studio that they were going to use at different parts of the video. It was really more like a short film. I keep calling it a music video. It was really kind of more like a short film that featured a song from Hissing Cockroach, and it also ended up featuring music from me. So, they wanted me to do a real recording of it. And so I did. I went to go record it like I normally would with my equipment. But guess what? My recording machine finally broke. It's just crapped out. I've been using it for 15 years, recorded 115 songs on it, and it finally just crapped out. So I wasn't able to use my equipment, so I ended up going to the same studio that we had done some recordings for Hissing Cockroach at. Because I'd already been there, I knew the guy, right? And I basically just scrounged up as much money as I could come up with, maybe like $150 or something like that, to pay for 1 day of studio time. And that is absolutely all the money that I had. So we literally went there, and we had just 1 day to get this whole thing done. On the day I ended up bringing my friend along with me, who's a drummer, because I thought I was going to have him play drums, because I'm just really not that good at the drums. I try my best, but, it's just not really my main thing. And so, we go there, and he's doing it, and it's just not working, He's just not really getting it. It's just not really working for the song, And I didn't even have any intention of playing the drums on this song. I had no plan. I hadn't practiced beforehand, but it wasn't working out, with my friend. So it was like I had to try and do it. So I literally just sat down there on the drums with no preparation or whatever and just banged it out. I did like 2 or 3 takes, and it was like, there it is, And it wasn't that great, and I'm dragging all over the place, and but it is what it is. Got it done. And then after that we go and we start recording all the other instruments, right? I had recorded acoustic guitar with my machine. That was what I was able to do before it broke. So I was able to record the acoustic guitar before we went there. But everything else we had to record on that day. So we started the drums, got that down. Then I do the bass, and then I did a little bit of piano next on the little quiet part I just wanted to do. And everything was going great up until that point. But the thing about it is that after I recorded those drums, which were dragging a lot throughout the song, then you record everything else on top of that based on those drums. Then all of a sudden now everything in the song is just a little bit dragging, a little bit weird and off. But anyway, despite that, it was all going all right up until the piano. But then that very moment that I knew it was about to come time to record the vocals, we literally only had about an hour left in the day or so. And these guys, for the music video, I had already been delayed because of my broken machine getting it to them. So these guys were expecting me to deliver this song to them basically like by the next day. So I literally had like an hour to just do the vocals for the song, and that was it. That was my only chance. And I completely just started panicking. It was my first time in a real studio, the first time, recording with other people around me, watching me. I've always just recorded, by myself at home. And I'll usually spend multiple days recording vocals for a song, multiple days easily. I would usually spend a week recording drums for a song because I'll do it just over and over again until I get it right. And in this case, I just simply couldn't do that. So I started panicking, and when I'm having a panic attack, my stomach and diaphragm just starts shaking violently. It just starts, barely breathe, just can barely talk, let alone sing. And I was completely just having like a full-blown, just shaking panic attack. And I just still had to go try to do it. I was still having a panic attack. I put the headphones on, I went in there, and I tried to sing, and it was not good at all. It was horrible. I could barely sing. But I ended up pushing through it, right? I ended up pushing through it, keep going, you get that, at least you get one take under your belt, you feel a little bit better. I ended up pushing it, pushing through it, and I ended up getting over the panic attack mostly. But at the end of the day, my performance, vocals, and drums on this song is just not good. It's sloppy to say the least. And, it's tough for me because I normally really want to spend the time on these songs that I need to until I get them right. And this time around, we just couldn't do that. And I don't really have the money to go and re-record stuff and spend a bunch of time. And at the end of the day, pretty much every song that I've put out so far is just a demo that I hope to record in like a real professional studio. I do want to be very clear that the problems with this song are not the studio fault or Matt, the engineer. He's great. I still recommend them to anybody. The problems that ended up happening with this song are all because of me, my lack of resources, and inability to play the drums at a really high level. So that's why I'm just calling this one a studio demo to give people at least an idea of how this song would sound with full band instruments. And that's why I'm including all the other songs along with it. So at least, you can hear that I actually can sing this song. It just doesn't really sound like it on the studio version. But, I just wanted to put it out there. Anyway, so because, of these issues with it, for the first time ever, this song was recorded using computers. And I let Matt, do his thing and kind of move things around with the computer and try to get it, a little bit into a better of a place. I say this, to be totally honest and transparent, because usually I would never do any of this, use all the little computer tricks and the quantization and lining everything up on the grid and pitch correction and all that. But I got to be honest and tell you that all of that stuff was used a little bit on this song, just to one extent or another. And it doesn't really help. You can see it doesn't really help. What this song really needs is for me to spend a lot more time on it and to get like a really good drummer to play on it. But we just don't have that right now. So, I'm just putting it out anyway. I mean, personally, like, my favorite version of this song was actually the version that I did out in the wood. It'll be track 2 on this EP, where the one I just recently put out, where I just did a video of myself playing it. That's my favorite version of the song, so I'm including that one with it. But I just wanted to, just get the idea out there, of what this song would sound like with a full band recording. So yeah, the song is coming out this Tuesday, the 25th. I just, wanted to put this out there and kind of explain myself, explain why this song is so different from my other ones and why it is so rough, especially on the drums and vocals. But from here on out, I really have to kind of rethink how I'm going to be recording. Because at the end of the day, I still have never been able to really record at a quality level with my machine and equipment that I want to. And I feel like that's really holding me back a lot. But I don't really have, the money to pay for studio time or to get a bunch of equipment in order to set up like a real legit studio for myself. So my current plan for the future is I'm just gonna start trying to get all my songs out there. I've got dozens and dozens of absolute freaking bangers that I haven't put out because I've been trying to want to get them recorded, but clearly it just seems like that is not really working. From here on out, I'm just going to start doing a bunch of videos where I just go out and play the songs, just me and the acoustic guitar, like I've done for a few of these songs recently. I'm just going to go out and finally put out so many of these songs that I've just been waiting to put out for a long time. I'm finally just going to put them out, just me and the guitar. I'm going to try to just like really start just like going bam, 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 like, I don't know, at least like a couple each month. And I just hope and believe that if I just stay consistent with putting out really great songs, that somebody's going to notice, that I'll be able to get gigs, that I'll be able to, find a band or a drummer or, something. That the resources will come that I need in order to really fulfill the vision that I have for these songs in the recording studio. Because I'm telling you, if I could just get the resources to make an album in a real professional studio, I'm gonna make the best album of all time.
Who will stop me when I grab the knife? Gonna cut out every little thing I don't like. Will you catch me when I fall from height? Would you pick me up and dust me up in the light? Take the chance to ask you, didn't plan to pass through. Could have known your love, but instead I chose to give up. At every chance I blew it. You're in the right to do this, taken for granted, but I can't stand it when you call my bluff. Didn't break the habit. She won't be a bandage for everything that I have lost. No, I've willingly given up. Can't escape the panic. Deep tread these bitter patterns. Wanted to think that just for once I could have done somebody good. It's not really